From our free daily newsletter, the latest from podnews.net with Podscribe.
The newly created Podcast Academy. The Podcast Academy.
It's 6 years since the launch of the Podcast Academy. In an in-depth look at podcasting's membership organisation, we examine how it's doing in terms of membership, the state of its finances, how important the AMBIs are to the organisation, and a mysterious change at the top that's left some people wondering what happened. You can find our report in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Edison Research at SSRS published the top 50 podcasts in the US for Q1 26. What effect has Netflix had on this chart? Well, The Breakfast Club rose from 15 to 11. It's the clear leader on Netflix. The Bill Simmons podcast, removed in full from YouTube in favor of Netflix, has also risen from 49 to 42. The highest new entry is The Ramsey Show. Edison Podcast Metrics asks about podcasts, not about platforms, so we'll include shows wherever people consume them. Acast published its annual report for 2025. It posted sales growth in North America of 60% in the year. Overall, sales grew by 29%, bringing in a total of $274 million in revenue. The company posted an overall loss of $12 million. It's got 429 full-time employees. Netflix released its financial results for Q1 26. Ted Sarandos sounded bullish about podcasting in an investor Q&A.
I think what's most exciting about it, even though it's very early days, what we're seeing is some data that would indicate that we're gaining incremental engagement to the platform. And how do we know it's incremental? Well, two things really jump out. One is the daytime viewing. So podcast consumption indexes to daytime hours on Netflix, which now allows us to capture a time where we historically have less engagement during the day. The other one is that it indexes much more mobile. So podcasting being more mobile than professional TV, and professional TV and film historically makes up a pretty small percentage of mobile viewing. So it's great that we get to meet our members where they are, even when they're enjoying other forms of entertainment.
The company's also announced that former professional TV news anchor Brian Williams is to host a show for Netflix. Podscribe has added radio ad management capabilities. Podcasting is often bought alongside radio advertising, and radio is listened to significantly more. Podscribe's new service adds verification and performance measurement. YouTube announced a way of avoiding YouTube Shorts on the platform. Barrett Media suggests this is a quiet threat to one of podcasting's most reliable growth engines. More HeadGum shows are making their way to Hulu. 3 more shows will appear on the video streaming platform before they're available anywhere else. And when AI can summarize any episode in seconds, what makes your podcast worth listening to in full? Jeremy Enns discusses a strategy of creating a durable podcast in the age of AI in an article we link to today. It's a Monday, so time for some tech stuff with RSS.com. Popular iOS podcast app Castamatic has launched Castamatic 13 in beta with transcripts and chapters generated on device with no cloud processing or data uploads. Unlike other recent launches of transcripts, Castamatic respects existing creator-produced transcripts where they exist in an RSS feed. You can see demos of transcripts and chapters from links you'll find in our newsletter. The app is entirely serverless for enhanced privacy. A new podcast app called Apecast contains automated transcripts and automated chapter marks, just like you get with Apple Podcasts for free, as well as ad skipping. You'd have to really dislike the ads, though, to pay $16.99 a month to get rid of them. The app describes advertising as feeling like theft, though as per every other similar podcast app, none of the money from subscriptions reaches creators. And the new feeds report from the Podcast Index is powered by a CSV file that we link to today. In the last 24 hours, another 217 new feeds from Inception Point AI, mostly in Portuguese and in Spanish. In People News, Reed Hastings is to step down as chairman of Netflix, and the BBC is to cut as many as 2,000 jobs, the biggest round of job losses at the BBC since 2011. It was announced by Rhodri Talfan-Davies, the interim Director General, prior to Matt Britton's arrival at the corporation next month. It's required to save £500 million of costs. Individual BBC employees will only learn whether they're affected later in the year. Happy summer holidays. And in podcast news, the Box of Oddities is with Airwave. We thank them for their support. It delves into the strange and mysterious aspects of our world, exploring topics ranging from bizarre medical conditions to unsolved mysteries, and from paranormal phenomena to strange cultural practices from around the world. A new podcast called She Said has been launched by Podio, from one of the Middle East's most prominent advocates for female entrepreneurship, known for her candid voice, purpose-driven content, and her mission to change the lives of 1 million women. It's hosted by Nora Akhmawi. And BFYTW is a British-style panel show podcast about two teams playing games comparing pop culture things to other pop culture things in bizarre and frequently hilarious ways. It's from Odd Pods Media. And this podcast is sponsored by Podscribe. Join Podscribe at the innovation stage at Possible. Learn how to buy audio more effectively and drive measurable results with Podscribe's Matt Drengler. April the 29th from 12:10 Eastern. You can save your spot in a link you'll find in our show notes. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe for free and fill out the report card, we're at podnews.net.